Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching in the world. My name is Sean Driver, and have to go back, have to look at what was the craziest draw that has happened in football that I've ever seen. And it may have been in the last number of years. Absolutely phenomenal game, crazy, the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, Jekyll and Hyde. Stick with me, going to do a bit of a deep dive. Hang out and welcome to the Red Horde. So an absolutely crazy game against Swindon Town, and I'm still trying to get my head around things. We saw the absolute worst of it. That first half was atrocious by any stretch. Defensively, we just cannot have those sorts of breakdowns, and so many giveaways. Players out of position. And now, granted, I'm a bit of a plastic fan, right? Been following for enough years that I'm getting a good handle on things, but there are some areas where I'm going to be asking questions rather than stating answers. But I wanted to look back because there has to be an answer as to how we allowed 4 goals in the first half. I don't blame it all on Fozzie. You always ask your goalie to make a save, and he didn't in many circumstances. But there were also just so many bad plays that I needed to go through and have a look at it. So we're going to do that together. Have a look at it. Stick with me. We're going to dive in, and here is the first bit of highlights. So I'm going to look at goal number 1 for Swindon in this one. Jake Young scoring on it. Not too critical as to what happened on the first one. I think that there was a potential misclearance by Bickerstaff that we'll get into later on, but there was sufficient build-up. And like I said, that's one of those goals that's just going to go in. I can't fault Fozzie. I don't really question the defenders, but just that misclearance. So let's look at that. So what you see is McEachran of Swindon misplay the ball. Bickerstaff has a chance to clear, but he's outmuscled by Con, and it goes downhill from there. Ultimately, what Con does, he gets the ball out to the right, it's centered in. Austin has a header on it, lands on the head of Young. Young puts it in. I don't know if you can fault Fozzie there. I don't think you can fault the defenders there. The question for me on that first goal is, could Bickerstaff have done more? And I'll leave that to you guys to decide. I just have that question. So now for the second goal that Swindon scores, Charlie Austin, and I've got 2 issues with this one. One, Mendy gets dispossessed of the ball relatively easily along the left-hand side. And the second one was positional play of the defenders. 3 men in the box for Swindon, 3 in the box for Wrexham. And what you end up finding is we're all on the wrong side of the ball, at least as it would be in hockey terms, and you'll see that here. So I've stopped play here so that we can look at everybody. And what we have is we have Boyle, who stepped out to the front of the box to stop the cross in. He's out there. You've got Barnett, who's now come back. He is not directly in front of the attacking player who's made his run. He's not in front. He's also on the wrong side, being away from the ball. So there's a clear lane to be able to get to a header. And what you don't see just off of screen is you've got EOC next to Austin. And again, he's missed that challenge and that run in onto the box. He's now to the left and behind. Now, you can tell me that I'm wrong, but as I understand the center back position and those that are set up defensively, is your job is to be able to intercept the ball or defend against the player, and sitting on the opposite shoulder isn't going to get it done. So to me, we've got those 2 mistakes. I'm going to run it here, but we've got the Mendy mistake, we've got the positional issue, and a positional misstep and a easy dispossession of the ball. So. Now this goal by Bickerstaff that made it 1-2, not enough people are talking about it. To me, this is an early candidate for goal of the season from Bickerstaff. I mean, down into the corner, deep up against the line. He's got 2 defenders on him. He's able to get it past Blake Tracy. He outmuscles Hutton, and he's got no room, a defender in front of him, as well as the goaltender. And from an acute angle, he's able to roof it and score. That's impressive.
Well, he just wouldn't give it up, would he?
The third goal is a perfect representation of what's plagued us so far, and this is what Kemp does here. As far as the build-up of the play, we've got a little bit of an aggressive first touch by Lee, pushes the ball and allows Swindon to be able to take possession. So a little bit of a mistake there, and then you've got Cannon, who's sitting in the back, left to defend, steps up on Kemp, gets beat, doesn't go either way. One that Fozzie probably should have got to if he was relying on his block, maybe resting a little bit too on his laurels. It was the only option that was available, was to go to that side. Didn't get there. It's 3-1. Frustrating. It's that direct play to the box. We got to find an answer. Now the goal that Swindon scored to go up 4-1, I just want to know what O'Connell was seeing. Blatant giveaway, a pass, nobody around. Who was the intended target? Where was that supposed to go? Doesn't look like he mishit it. And the consequences predictable. Knew it was going to happen as it was happening. Advances forward. There's maybe a slight unfortunate deflection that ends up landing on a Swindon Town boot. It's in the back of the net. 4-1. Brutal giveaway. Brutal. But then things start to change. The tides shift. Elliot Lee gets the next one on a penalty, and before we get there, here is the run up to where the penalty was called. And I'm just going to rely on Michael Flynn, the coach of Swindon, who ended up making his comment on what he thought about that penalty call, because I know there's a fan out there who has an issue with it, and I'm probably going to do a response video. And so what did Michael Flynn say about the penalty? Here it is.
Oh, it's just stupid mistakes, isn't it? Pulling people in the box, you're gonna have a penalty against you. So we need to cut that out.
Immediately, big moments in the afternoon. Up he steps and he slams it down the middle.
And then we go from there just 5 minutes later, and James Jones starts to make this a real thing. Pots another one, now 3-4. Just beautiful work.
A regular occurrence, and they might be able to get another one back here. Tucked away by James Jones, who immediately picks up the ball and runs back to the centre circle.
71st minute, Dan Kemp scores, and again, dispossessed. Loss of possession in the midfield, struggling to get back, and it ends up in the back of the net. Got to be careful with the ball in the midfield, please. And reminiscent of his first goal, Dan Kemp gets it again at the front of the box with Andy Cannon in front of him to defend him. He again goes to the left, and again, he pots a goal. The theme continues. Turnovers in midfield, leading to a counter-attack, and goals directly in front of the box. Got to just find a way to address that, and we're going to go a long way. That's the sense I've got. But we all know what happens now. Cue the comeback. 71st minute, that means 19 minutes plus injury time left. And James Jones, Elliot Lee, within injury time, pull it from the depths. It's a beautiful thing to watch, and just going to let it run.
A remarkable comeback from here, but Wrexham still not giving up. In comes the long throw, the follow-up effort comes in, and they've got one back. James Jones again.
So let's directly get to the other source of controversy, and that is, was this a handball? And a lot of people have been saying, well, it hit him on the sleeve, and so therefore it's not a handball. That rule was changed back in 2019. Law 12 reads that for the purposes of determining handball offenses, the upper boundary of the arm is in line with the bottom of the armpit. Now, I say there were two touches, one in the mid-arm, and then another one that hit him in the shoulder just below the armpit line. And so I say it was a handball in any event. Watch closely. I say that the ball hits in his mid-arm, and you can see the ball change trajectory going back up, and then it hits again in near his shoulder, but below the armpit line. It's a free kick. Away we go.
See the arm come out to be the last chance of the afternoon. Young will take, it's hit the post, but it's turned in!
And here's what I find fascinating about the final goal is you have 10 guys back, 7 in that wall, including the guy laying down, pulling his dad bod position. But what I find fascinating is that they were all spectators once the kick was made. Even the 3 guys that are loose and just off the wall, nobody turns around and gets back, allowing Lee to swoop in there and score the goal like a ninja, and everybody's standing around for Swindon, spectating. Beautiful.
6 minutes into stoppage time.
Jam-packed, full of excitement. That was everything. A draw that felt like a win. I'm going to be challenged. I know I have never experienced a draw that was that exciting in any sport. So somebody else tell me if you've got a comparable, because to me, that one's got to rank right up there as one of the most exciting draws, especially for Wrexham fans. Swindon gutted, Wrexham celebrating, and both teams walked away with a point. Still got work to do, but wow, something else. I did take the opportunity. I ran into the interview of Michael Flynn on Swindon's YouTube, and man, he takes a position that I just didn't see it, so I've got to let his words go, and then I'm going to tell you why I think he's wrong. But just listen to what he had to say.
Should have been out of sight. Best team on the park by a mile.
Best team on the park by a mile? Were we watching the same game? I mean, that's not what I saw, but you know what? Let's go to the stats and just have a look. Ball possession, about equal, 49-51. That was a benefit to Swindon. But after that, Goal attempts 27-8 in favor of Wrexham. Shots on goal 13-6 in favor of Wrexham. Corner kicks in favor of Wrexham 9-2. Expected goals, calculation through a bunch of different variables and end up showing what expected goals should be based on the quality of the play. 3.57 to Wrexham to 1.12 to Swindon. Look, Swindon was gifted an opportunity, multiple opportunities, turnovers that led to counterattacks, and give Swindon credit, they were clinical when they had those opportunities. But best team on the park by a mile. Somebody's going to have to help me out and tell me how that makes any sense.
Individual errors have cost us, and that one at the end where the referees give a free kick, I've just watched it back, it's clearly at his shoulder.
Then you need to watch it again. Middle of the arm and below the armpit. 2 touches. Thanks.
So, and his view was hampered, so yeah, I don't know how you've seen it, but could have been more. You know, they've had a lot of luck as well. Their centre-backs nearly scored an own goal. We've hit the bar. Yeah, very, very frustrated. We look very, very dangerous today, but we've caused our own problems. But yeah, lots to be positive about. But obviously I'm hurting and I'm frustrated because it's a game we should have never have not walked away with 3 points.
All told, that was some kind of game. I don't know if my heart's going to be able to handle another, whatever it is, 42 matches that were like that one. So Barrow, Saturday, we're going to be there for the watch party. Join in. We're still getting lots of people to it, a little bit less. It was an interesting analytical one watching the last one because the numbers were way up. Goes 4-1, numbers go way down. The comeback begins, numbers go way back up. So that one was fun. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to put together another video to address something stupid on Twitter right now. Get both of these out. One of them probably immediately, the other one via Premiere. Thanks for joining. Thanks for following along. Thanks for the likes, and hope to see you at the watch party. This is the Red Horde.